Hastings' help at the Courtsmith estate, something I would have liked to have considered. We now know the reasoning behind Mademoiselle Farquhar's brutal actions towards her own cousin. The circumstances around the murder need no further consideration. But the location... A moment of peace before one's little grey cells must ponder. Ah, yes. Hastings had, even after the truths of her crimes and personal... Perhaps Mademoiselle did not leave with the painting at all.
Poirot, there you are. What are you...
On this occasion, there is no time for pleasantries. We shall finally bring them... We must return to the scene of the initial crime. The royal... Is everyone present? Please ask them to convene in the exhibition room.
Is there something you're not telling me?
All will be revealed. Messieurs et Mesdames, thank you for joining us here today.
What's this all about? Yes, my time is rather valuable.
I thought everyone was here to see the exhibition.
I'm all for looking at some real art, as long as it's not all hers.
I understand the frustration and hostility that most of you must feel towards her. For some...
Hatred, loathing, disgust.
Betty, please.
Even after everything, you stand here and defend...
I'm not defending her. If anyone should...
Perhaps you should move on.
In this room is where it all began. Or at least, that is how it appeared. We are all aware Mademoiselle Courtsmith was behind the painting's disappearance. But it was not a moment of group, but rather a well-orchestrated plan that involved most of you tangled in her web of life.
All right, we all know why we're here. Maybe you can...
At the detective inspector's request, I shall forego the series of events that led up. Perhaps a fitting place to begin would be with...
If that's going to get things moving.
You are all aware of the fire and murder that took place at...
The fire that she started after having once...
That is where the difference between design... Inside Mademoiselle's apartment was the penitent Magdalene painting. Or at least, the fire was set purposely, in an attempt to destroy evidence.
I wonder how many other hidden...
Haven't you caused enough damage?
Madame Hélène, the famous actress and performer. Your stop.
Look!
When you overheard the conversation between your husband and Mademoiselle Courtsmith,
I did everything to keep you happy, but
it began with an infatuation, but turned into a relationship.
So that's why you took it.
She manipulated me from day one. She used me. She used her...
Oh, just keep it shut.
Perhaps for once, you should...
And now...
I wonder how many other hidden...
You know where the painting is.
Mademoiselle Warbeck, do you...
No, I mean,
On the contrary, Mademoiselle Court Smythe threatened your career.
I wouldn't kill her, though. I couldn't.
You cleaned the key to the restoration room. You continued to deny your involvement with the deceased. A relationship that was nothing more than...
You think I don't know that now? I knew it had been her that took the key from my pocket. But when I confronted her...
Behind bars, that's where...
Give it a rest, old man!
She can't speak to me like that.
Before you continue riding your high horse, Your Grace, perhaps one should consider...
My actions? How?
It is you that makes a mockery, and
I have dedicated my life to serving...
The pieces you had commissioned by Mademoiselle Court Smythe, which hang on your church wall...
Why are we even Is this...
Mademoiselle Court Smythe's forgeries would be hung on the church...
You have no proof.
Poirot, the penitent Magdalene.
How could one forget? We have already discussed one of the multiple forgeries, and found amongst your hidden... Mademoiselle Court Smythe sold you a forgery that you believe to be real. And one should not allow oneself the arrogance to consider themselves the smartest in the room. I am sure theft and embezzlement are questioned.
I know things got out of hand, but it was you that broke...
There still remain one The image of the honorable and distinguished gentleman that you present yourself as has...
It may... How long are we going to entertain?
Poirot, can we move this along?
While searching the main hall for clues, a snuff box was found. And after speaking with my good friend, Monsieur Demire, about the effects of
Recent studies have discovered that the use of cocaine and other such stimulants can put a tremendous strain on the...
Preposterous!
Your heart attack became the perfect distraction, while Mademoiselle Court Smythe was able to sleep.
Faking a heart attack is pretty low.
Monsieur Hastings.
Once the painting had been confirmed as stolen.
And Monsieur Aylesworth had bothered the detective inspector enough to show he had nothing to...
He would get to keep the original and claim the insurance money. He was going to...
I'm not going to...
You'll stay right where you are.
A stolen painting. Timed perfectly with his crossing of the aisle in the House of Commons. All designed to raise his profile, just in time to announce his desire.
I wasn't doing it for me.
I have never heard a more self-righteous claim for breaking the law in all my life.
How am I meant to help those that...
It all ends here.
Poirot, the penitent...
I know you have a flair for the dramatic.
This is all going to make for...
Deals were hatched, forgeries were created, and promises were broken. She allowed for you all to see and know only what was necessary to complete your part.
As much as I'm enjoying this show, any chance...
You shall have to wait only a moment longer. Not only her aid in the museum, but in the construction of the forgeries. Mademoiselle Farquhar's deception began...
You were part of it. The whole time.
Taking us all for fools.
This is all going to make...
I know you have a flair for the...
Poirot, the penitent...
Deep down, I knew she never loved.
Oh, I hope you're...
It all ends here.
And now.
I wonder how many other hidden...
This is all going to make for...
Mademoiselle Court-Smythe manipulated everyone. But that does not...
Poirot, the murderer. Tell us now.
Of our suspects, all guilty in some form or other. Monsieur Christiansen, a lover, jilted and tossed aside, Mademoiselle Warbeck. Another that was promised her, Monsieur Aylesworth. Anger that a fool... Bishop Mountjoy, a third, sold the idea of an original painting, livid, at the Mademoiselle Farquhar. Trapped in a partnership where you did not receive what was owed to you. All with motive, but lacking opportunity. Until the realization, isn't that right? Mademoiselle our true relation to the deceased. Cousins. Standing to
You don't understand. It wasn't like that.
You decided to poison her with potassium cyanide. A chemical often found in photography development. Wearing an almost identical hat to the deceased, you were able, leaving her body lifeless in her own apartment. You tried to cover your involvement in both the forgeries and the murder by destroying any incredibly clever. Your nefarious plan setting the fire almost...
Did you really just praise her for starting a fire?
On the contrary, a timer was used, allowing for Mademoiselle Farquhar to be seen in her office as she
I didn't want to kill her.
She gave you no choice. You planned and executed a brutal murder. She was your...
A cousin that has controlled me for years.
She held you captive? I did not see a prison cell in her apartment.
No, emotionally and financially, I was a struggling critic. But she taught me how to stand up for myself.
You were aware of her scheme all along?
Not at first. I didn't know she was selling them on...
But even when you did find out, you didn't stop.
There was always a reason I couldn't. And what money I couldn't remain under her control anymore.
Mademoiselle.
All I see is the student becoming the master.
Detective Inspector? Perhaps the truth has been revealed, and Mademoiselle Court-Smythe's murderer will pay the
There is.
If you think for a moment that the location of...
Go on then. Where is it?
in this very museum. If the original painting was to find its way into her portfolio, it would be returned to her after her exhibition has concluded. Meaning,
It would be delivered to her on a plate.
exactement. She prepared one of her picture frames and made sure it would be in the restoration room.
What on earth is he doing?
You've got to be kidding me.
It would take too long to remove the nails from the frame and hide it, surely.
The nails were sawn down, creating the illusion of being used correctly, when in fact the backboard was easily accessible. Hidden perfectly behind what Mademoiselle Courtsmith deemed to be her masterpiece.
I never doubted him for a second.
Messieurs et Mesdames, the penitent Magdalene.
Well, detective, you've solved both the theft and
Finding the murderer and solving two thefts with a...
2 thefts? You already...
You have forgotten Mademoiselle Farquhar's missing...
Oh, of course. Do you think...
Mademoiselle Farquhar is far from an honest woman. Lies tripping from her tongue at every turn. But if her motive was indeed to fake theft and claim the insurance, she would surely not have let it lying where Mademoiselle Babagnan claimed to have... Mademoiselle Babagnan's motive is now clear. How she pulled off such a cunning theft still eludes me. Something Hastings said has my little grey cells fired up. Nothing is ever quite what it seems. I suppose, could Mademoiselle Babagnan have pulled the wool over my eyes in a similar way? It is you that should be happy, mademoiselle. With no effort at all, you were able to save the day with barely a second thought. You turned a stolen heirloom with a thief and a victim into nothing more than a misplaced item.
A case of being in the right place at the right time.
I do not believe in coincidence. You were where you were meant to be. Had you not boarded when you did, you would likely have not been invited to the gala at all, or been able to be within touching distance of so many beautiful and historical pieces, including the silver mantle. One thing I have learned during my time here in London is that people portray a version of themselves.
What are you trying to say?
That there are some that wear a mask of authenticity. That perhaps, under different circumstances, I would have had the pleasure of meeting a
Will you be leaving London?
There are a few small matters to settle before I leave. Mademoiselle Farquhar is now in the...
You really do believe in the law?
If you do not believe in the law,
And everyone should be punished?
I believe that we should be held accountable for our actions.
Or...
And you, mademoiselle? Are you to leave London?
There's nothing more for me here. I hear Paris, perchance, our paths.
Perhaps, under those different circumstances.
I look forward to it, detective.
Well, that's that then.
Oui, monsieur. The cases are closed and Mademoiselle Farquhar...
What of the others?
Judging by the detective inspector's glare at Monsieur Aylesworth, he and Bishop Mountjoy, once news spreads of his connection with the...
I was hoping at least someone would get a happy end.
Monsieur Hastings, you have been by my side throughout this investigation.
I helped where I could, but it was mostly you.
What you may not know, and I would kindly request you keep to your...
Loner.
I would not go as far as that. But it...
Good thing I was around to save you from a gunman.
I fear I shall not live that down.
I'll maybe hold on to it a little longer. Not many can say they...
The great Detective Poirot. As much as I admire your formality,
Our new relationship?
I have seen the benefit of friendship. connecting with someone that shares an authenticity not only in...
And that's me. Detective Poirot and his trusted friend, Arthur Hastings.
It does have a certain charm to it.